Welcome. You've found a video designed to help you fall asleep, but not just any video. This one gently tucks you into bed and then quietly escorts your imagination back 700 years, to a time when alarm clocks were roosters, showers were rivers, and the only thing more certain than death and taxes was pottage. You're not here to worry about your inbox, or your cholesterol, or that email you sent 3 hours too late. You're here to rest and to wander, just for a while, in someone else's life. A simpler life, not necessarily a better one, but certainly one without emails. Close your eyes. Breathe. Feel the weight of the blankets. Let your mind drift back. The year is 1327. You live in a village with no name because everyone in it already knows where they are. Your feet are calloused. Your hands are strong. You are 19 years old, a working peasant. And right now you're asleep. But not for long. The first thing you hear is the pig again. She's snuffling around just outside your door, loudly investigating the mystery of mud. Then comes the rooster, Gregory, unfortunately named after the local priest, and just as loud. He starts crowing as if the world depends on it. The world does not. But he's made it his problem anyway. You lie very still, wishing briefly that sleep could be bartered for like eggs. No luck. The sun hasn't fully risen, but the light is there, dim and stubborn. It spills through the holes in the thatched roof in fine golden beams. One of those beams lands squarely on your eyelid. You blink, then sigh. Your bed is a simple sack stuffed with straw, although after several winters it's more sack than straw. You share it with your younger brother, who somehow manages to sleep through anything. He's drooling peacefully into a bundle of rags that was once a blanket. You could push him off, but that would wake him, and he'd talk. Better to let him drool. You sit up. Your back makes a gentle clicking sound. That's normal. Your tunic, hanging on a wooden peg, smells faintly of mildew and sheep. But then, so do most things in your life. You pull it over your head. It's rough wool. Itchy, warm, and so well worn it's probably considered family. A belt made of plaited leather goes around your waist. No socks. You don't own any. Boots? Technically, yes, if you count the pair of stitched hides with holes in the toes. Your mother is already up. She's stirring something in the cooking pot. The fire beneath it is more hopeful than hot. You catch a whiff of boiling barley and onion. Pottage. Again. She looks at you with eyes that say, "You're late," even though it's still barely dawn. Outside, the village is yawning awake. A few cottages already have thin streams of smoke curling from their chimneys. You hear a dog bark once and then change its mind. A cow moos in the distance with the slow, thoughtful intensity of someone who has never had anywhere to be. You step outside. The air is cool and damp. The dew on the grass has soaked your boots immediately, which doesn't matter because they were already damp from yesterday. The sky is streaked with soft pink and blue. It would be lovely if you weren't expected in the fields in half an hour. You pass the communal well on your way to the main path. Someone has dropped the bucket in again. You make a mental note to ignore it until someone else retrieves it. You take a quick drink of yesterday's ale from your flask, not because it's delicious, but because water is suspicious at best. The ale is flat, warm, and slightly gritty. You tell yourself it builds character. Your neighbour, Old Meg, is already outside feeding chickens. She offers you a nod that might mean, "Good morning," or "Get out of my sight." It's often hard to tell with Meg. You keep walking! The village reeve is already out, his staff in hand, ready to check who shows up to the fields and who mysteriously disappears every time there's weeding to be done. You make sure to walk just fast enough to look committed, but not so fast that you arrive early. It's an art. The fields lie just beyond the low stone wall that marks the edge of the village proper. The earth is damp, dark, and ready. You've got your hoe with you, a sturdy wooden shaft and a metal blade, dull but reliable. Today is planting. You'll be working in the far strip near the tree line. It's not the worst field. That honour goes to the one by the swamp, which Thomas has again managed to avoid. No one knows how. You suspect bribery or witchcraft. You begin the day's work by loosening the soil, one row at a time. Your hands are already blistered, so this feels less like pain and more like a routine negotiation between your skin and your job. The birds are out, mostly blackbirds, But there's a single fat pigeon nearby who keeps watching you like he's expecting something. You name him Richard, for no particular reason. You fall into rhythm. Dig, drop seed, cover, dig, drop seed, cover. It's hypnotic, the sort of repetition that makes your mind wander. You think about lunch, about whether the river is too high for fishing, about how the baker's daughter smiled at you yesterday, even though you were covered in mud. You think about becoming a thatcher's apprentice and then remember you're afraid of heights. You think about nothing. And that, strangely, is the best part. By mid-morning, the sun is up. It's pale and thin, but warm enough to make you sweat a little. You take off your outer tunic and tie it around your waist. The reeve passes by, scribbling something on a piece of wood. You nod. He doesn't nod back. Classic reeve behaviour. You break for lunch just past midday. You sit on a low stone near the edge of the field and take out your bundle of food. A heel of brown bread, hard as a lesson, but filling. A little cheese, crumbly and sharp. And a small onion, which you bite into like an apple. It burns your eyes slightly, but it's honest food. You eat in silence, watching the clouds. Thomas shows up late, as usual, holding a half-empty flask and looking entirely too cheerful for someone who's meant to be working. He sits nearby and offers you a turnip. You decline. He shrugs and eats it whole. He's a mystery. The rest of the afternoon is slower. Your legs are tired, your back aches, and the pigeons have multiplied. Richard has brought friends. You suspect they're plotting something. You keep working anyway. By the time the sun begins to lower in the sky, your arms feel like they belong to someone else. Preferably someone stronger. You wipe your hands on your tunic, which is now mostly mud. Your boots are soaked. There's a bit of straw in your hair. You feel, in short, like a perfectly ordinary medieval peasant. And honestly, that's all right. You begin the walk back toward the village, the field behind you newly seeded, rows stretching out in neat brown lines. There's something satisfying about it. The land will rest now, and in a few months, something green might push through. Or not. It depends on the rain, the sun, and the local goats who have no respect for fences. The path back is quiet. A few others walk with you, not together, but in a kind of shared silence. Everyone's tired. No one talks. The world is hushed. You pass the same crooked oak tree, the same mossy stone. You know this path so well you could walk it with your eyes closed. Maybe one day you will, just to see if you can. As you re-enter the village, smoke rises from chimneys, soft and grey. The smell of burning peat hangs in the air, earthy and strong. Someone is cooking something that smells suspiciously like cabbage. Children run past you, chasing a stick. One of them is barefoot. He doesn't seem to mind. Your cottage is waiting. Its door creaks open with the same sound it always makes, like a question nobody wants answered. Inside, it's dim and warm. The fire has been coaxed back to life. Your mother stirs another pot of something. She doesn't look up, but she hands you a bowl. You say thank you. She grunts. High praise, really. You eat slowly. The bowl is warm in your hands. The stew, if you can call it that, is mostly lentils and onion skins with a hopeful suggestion of meat. It's thin, but hearty. You chew, you swallow, you breathe. No one speaks. It's not rude. It's just how evenings are. Your father sits across from you, slowly sharpening a knife that looks older than the cottage. He doesn't need to sharpen it, really. He just likes the rhythm. Scrape. Pause. Scrape. He nods at you. That counts as an entire conversation. After the meal, your brother attempts a joke, something about a priest, a pig, and a bucket. It makes no sense. You laugh anyway, not because it's funny, it isn't, but because he's your brother, and it's been a long day. He grins like he's just invented laughter. The dog barks once in agreement, then lies back down and resumes its nap with professional commitment. You help tidy up. Tidy being a generous term for stacking a few wooden bowls and brushing crumbs toward the fire. Your mother grunts in approval. Again, high praise. The air outside is cooling fast. The sun has dipped behind the western hills, leaving a soft glow in the sky. The trees are still. The birds have given up for the day. Even Gregory the rooster has gone silent, though you know he'll be back tomorrow with his usual enthusiasm. You wander down to the stream. It's barely 100 paces from the cottage, winding slowly between stones and reeds. The water is clear and cold. You splash your face, washing off a layer of mud and field dust. It doesn't help much, but it feels good. You see your reflection in the water, tired eyes, tangled hair, skin browned by sun and wind. You look like a peasant, because of course you are. There's comfort in that, strange as it sounds. No one expects greatness from you, just effort. You dig, you sow, you eat what grows. Unless the pigs get there first, you sleep. You do it again. And in between, there are moments like this one, quiet and oddly peaceful. On the walk back, you pass the little chapel. It's not much, just a single-room building with a crooked bell and a cross that leans like it's trying to hear better. The priest, Father Gregory, yes, same name as the rooster, is outside sweeping. He nods to you, then looks at the sky like he's waiting for something. You nod back. You've never been especially devout, but you figure it's good to be on speaking terms with the one person in the village who has a line to the Almighty. As you near your cottage, you see old Meg again. She's crouched beside her fence, whispering to a goat. You don't ask, you never ask. The goat seems to be listening, which is more than most people manage. Back inside, your brother is already asleep, mouth open, snoring like a badly tuned bagpipe. The dog has stolen half the blanket. Your father is still sharpening that knife, now mostly out of principle. Your mother is poking the fire and muttering about someone named Elfrid, who apparently still hasn't returned her bucket. You don't know who Elfrid is. You're not sure she does either. You sit down by the hearth. The warmth feels good on your knees. You stare at the flames. They flicker gently, casting long shadows across the room. Fire is the only show in town, and tonight it's putting on a good one. A small log collapses inward. Sparks float up and vanish. You feel your eyes growing heavy. But the day's not quite done. Outside, a bell rings faintly. It's the signal for curfew, not enforced, but expected. The village doesn't lock its doors. There are no bandits tonight, just owls, foxes, and the occasional fox that thinks it's an owl. You stretch, your joints complain. You've earned their complaints. You pull off your boots. They protest too, in their own way, and rub your feet. They're sore, yes, but they still work. That's what matters. You place them near the fire. They begin to steam faintly, like tiny cauldrons of regret. Your mother finally speaks, a rare, majestic event. She says, "Fetch wood tomorrow." You nod. That's all. That's enough. Your father has put away his knife. He's staring into the fire now too. You wonder what he's thinking. Probably nothing. Or something about pigs. It's hard to say. You lie down on your straw mattress. The familiar creak of the frame welcomes you back. You adjust your tunic into something resembling a blanket. The dog circles twice, then flops down next to you. Your brother rolls over and whacks you in the face. You push him back. He mutters something about turnips. All is well. Above you, the thatch roof is silent. No rain tonight, no wind, just the slow hush of the village settling into itself. Your eyes close. You are a medieval peasant. You survived another day. You planted something. You ate something. You didn't anger the reeve or the priest or old Meg. That's a win. The world outside fades. The last sounds you hear are the whisper of the fire, the soft snore of your brother, and the dog releasing a sigh of contentment that smells faintly of cabbage. Sleep comes slowly, then all at once. You drift, and tomorrow the rooster will start it all again. You're not sure what time it is, but you're awake again. Maybe it was the dog scratching, or your brother talking in his sleep. He's having an argument with someone called Marjorie, and he's clearly losing. You roll onto your other side, which doesn't help much. Straw beds don't really have a good side, just less pokey ones. The fire has burned low. There's a faint orange glow from the embers, like the world itself is breathing quietly in its sleep. You sit up for a moment, just to listen. There's something about the middle of the night that makes everything sound closer. You can hear the crickets, the wind through the eaves, the distant splash of something in the stream. Hopefully a frog, possibly a thief, probably a frog. You get up slowly, careful not to wake anyone. Your feet find the cold earth floor. You tiptoe past your father, who's snoring with his mouth open and holding a ladle like he meant to defend the house with it. The dog lifts its head, looks at you, and goes back to dreaming about meat. Outside, the village is still. No fires, no voices, no work. Just the gentle hush of a place where everyone has gone to bed, willingly or otherwise. You walk a little, past the fence, past the chickens who are asleep in their coop, unaware of how lucky they are to have wings and nowhere to be. You look up. The sky is clearer than you expected. Stars hang low and thick like a spilled bag of grain across the heavens. You don't know most of their names, only the ones the priest points out on feast days, but you know their patterns, and they've been in the same place since you were born. It's comforting, in a distant sort of way. You sit on a stump near the chapel. It's slightly damp. Everything is always slightly damp. You breathe in, out, slowly, the kind of slow that has no reason to be anything else. And for a moment, you forget the blisters, the reeve, the goat that bit you last week. You forget how many meals you've had that began with the phrase, "Don't mind the smell." You forget the ache in your knees and the hole in your boot, and the way your mother glares at turnips as if they personally insulted her. You just are. There's a peace in that. Eventually, the cold wins. You head back, carefully, quietly. The door creaks, of course. It always does. You slip back into bed. The straw pokes your hip. Your brother has somehow taken both the blanket and the dog. You let it go. Your eyes close again. This time, they stay that way. Sleep, real sleep, wraps around you like a woolen cloak that doesn't itch. Much. And now it is morning. Again. A different day, in name only. The rooster, still Gregory, still enthusiastic, is back at his post. You briefly consider whether roast rooster might be a thing. You also consider staying in bed. But your body has other ideas. Your knees crack as you sit up. Your back makes a noise that could be described as medieval. You stretch. The dog sneezes in your face. You're awake now. Breakfast is, shockingly, pottage. Slightly thicker than yesterday's and with a bit of herb in it. You suspect someone dropped that in by accident. You eat quickly. You're scheduled to help the cooper today, barrel making, a rare change from field work. You head across the village, past the smithy, which already rings with the sound of hammer on iron. Will the smith nods to you and gestures vaguely with a hot horseshoe. He's never spoken more than 12 words in a row, but somehow you know exactly what he means. The cooper's shed is a blessed place. It smells of fresh cut wood and beeswax. It's also dry, which is practically luxurious. The cooper, Edwin, is thin, quiet, and smells faintly of honey. He shows you how to fit the staves of the barrel together using only muscle, twine, and sheer, quiet hatred of misalignment. You spend the next several hours shaving wood, fitting rings, and trying not to smash your thumb. You fail once. Just once. It throbs gently, a heartbeat in your hand. You ignore it. You're becoming quite good at that. At midday, you take your break outside. You eat a turnip, not because you like it, but because it's there. You chew slowly, looking out over the fields. A few sheep dot the hillside. One of them stares at you, chewing in perfect time with your own bite. You try not to blink first. A child runs past, barefoot and sticky, chasing a wooden hoop. He falls, laughs, gets up, and runs again. That's life here. Fall, laugh, get up, keep going. Maybe get a better grip on the hoop next time. The rest of the day passes in work. Wood shavings pile up around your boots. Your hands ache. You finish 2 full barrels and start a third. Edwin says, "Not bad." That's practically a poem, coming from him. As the sun begins to dip, you clean up. Stack the tools, sweep the sawdust. Edwin nods again. You take it as a benediction. Walking home, the air is thick with the smell of wood smoke, bread and livestock. Someone's baking, possibly overbaking. There's a thin trail of dark smoke rising from a chimney near the edge of the village. You make a mental note not to eat whatever comes out of that oven. You stop at the well. The bucket has been retrieved. Miracles do happen. You draw water, clear and surprisingly cold. You take a long sip. It tastes faintly of moss and iron, but it's not ale, and for that you're grateful. Back home, your brother has decided to build a fort out of firewood. Your mother tells him to put it back. He adds more wood instead. She glares at him with the kind of glare that doesn't need words. The wood goes back. Dinner is astonishingly not pottage. It's bread, soft and still warm from the communal oven, a bit of goat cheese, some dried apple. Your father must have traded something, or found a different bucket to threaten Alfred with. You sit together by the fire. The warmth seeps into your bones. The flickering light paints the room in soft golds and browns. No one speaks much, but that's all right. You've learned that comfort isn't always loud.